All right, we're here at July 29th, all ready to go.
Yo ho, I'm marketing life for me, crowd targeting, Google ranking and act, and with the leader of the pack, John Limbacher.
Gotta like the pirate theme, right?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we talked actually last week or the week before about GMBs, and then I never made it to it. So it was kind of a tease. I apologize for that. I just completely lost track of what we were supposed to talk about on the call. Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Your voice sounds a little muted. I don't know if that's for everybody.
Oh,
I think you're going through your computer mic.
okay. Let me check that out here. How's that? That a little better?
A lot more of a hiss than your
Oh,
voice.
how about now?
It didn't really change.
Okay. I see. I see what you got going on. Let me get the right setting here. How about now?
I would say that's like tinnitus ringing right there.
All right, cool. I was changing the speakers instead of the microphone.
Yeah, that's much better. Thank you.
All right, cool. Yeah, too many buttons to push over here. I know I'm a button pusher, but okay. So anyway, what I was talking about was the GMB I kind of teased you guys with a week or so ago, and it wasn't by design. I just lost track of time, and we got into other stuff. So I want to hit that first, so we get that out of the way. If you don't know what GMB is, it's a service that Google offers called Google My Business. Now, they've changed the name of it multiple times. It's been called Places. So you may know it from some other term. But what they're calling it now is Google My Business, and it's a listing. It's a free listing. It's almost like a yellow page listing. The difference is yellow page is kind of out the windows. Google is kind of the new referral source. So if you haven't caught on to that yet, it's this little thing called Google. So GMB is very important, especially for small businesses, local businesses, but there is absolutely no reason at all that any business would not do this. It's a way to list yourself online. The key is being found, regardless. The key is being found. So there's no good reason I could think of that any business out there would not want to be found inside the biggest business listing in the world. And that's GMB. So that's why I wanted to talk about it. It is important. If you don't know how to do it, or you've never done it or whatever, just go to Google itself and type in Google My Business, and it'll tell you how to set up an account. It's just filling out a form. When you fill the form out, what it's doing, it's creating your listing, and then your listing will show up. Typically, if somebody types in your brand name or your company name, you get this big, beautiful listing over on the side that really grabs people's attention. It also gives you credibility because it looks like you own that page. It really points to, hey, this is the guy, this business. It's like a verifier. Google is all about authority and verification. They want to make sure that they're publishing true, accurate information. So what better way than to provide them the information yourself from the company? They tend to trust that a lot more. Other people can go in and sign up for you. Like, they can make a recommendation of a business. You don't really want that, because anybody can do that. You want to do this for yourself. If somebody's already done it, you want to go in and claim it, take control of it. There is a verification process also, because like I said, Google loves authority, and they love to make sure that they're doing the right thing. They love to make sure that, the information is accurate and true. So what they do, part of their verification process, is to actually send you a postcard with an account code to the address that you put in there. And guess what? If that address isn't right and you don't get that postcard, you don't get verified. And all of a sudden now you've lost their trust. So they want to make sure that all information is accurate. You know, if you put phone numbers in, they're going to want to check them. They're, you know, all that stuff. So that's kind of the what it is. Now, there's a lot of things to it. You know, it's a listing, yes, but there's a lot of different add-on features that you can add on to it. The more you add on to it, the more powerful it becomes. It also gives you more properties. When I say properties, a property is a web page. It's a placement. It's a way that you can be found. So the GMB listing is one thing. That's the big listing on the side. Put pictures in it. You know, the more colorful, the more graphical it is, the more likely somebody is to click on it. It also has the ability to link it to your website. You absolutely want to do that. You want to make the tie. You want to make the connection between your business listing and your business website. That's very important. I don't really even want to talk about this piece of it, but I'm going to, just because. If you don't have a website, that's the part that makes me cringe. If you don't have a website, Google will actually give you a free website to go along with it so you can attach it to your website. That's how important they think having a website is. If you don't have one, they'll give you one for free to attach to your Google My Business account. Should you do that? I think you should attach it to your real website myself. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't sign up to have the Google My Business website and have all of that just point to your website. But don't just connect the Google My Business website to the Google My Business page. Connect it to your real website. To me, that's just criminal activity if you don't do that. But they will allow you to do that because they want everybody to have a voice, have a listing, all that stuff. But I guarantee you, if you connect it to your real website, it will pass authority between the two and make both of them stronger. So just keep that in mind, the whole free website thing. They also have where you can show up in a local pack. Once you start getting known and seen and gain authority, like if somebody types in, let's say you were a pizza parlor, for instance, and somebody types in pizza in your city, there's a what's called a 3-pack listing in Google where it shows, it features 3 different businesses, local businesses. So you can actually become part of the 3-pack. That is really, really powerful. I mean, we're talking about the most powerful resource on the planet right now for referrals is Google. What better than having them feature your website in the top 3 businesses for whatever they just typed in? I mean, that's really, really powerful. You can't get that unless you've got a Google My Business account. So another reason that you should have this. Another thing is maps. You can actually go in and you can pin your location on maps. You can create driving routes from popular places. That's one of the things that they do in the SEO field, is they'll go in and they'll create a bunch of properties. The more properties that you have, the more likely that you'll be found. So creating routes and maps with you targeted in the middle, connected to your Google My Business account. Again, I'm getting into a little more advanced stuff here. There are people on Fiverr that will do this stuff for you incredibly inexpensively. So don't worry about the details. If you don't know how to do all this stuff, you can just go into Fiverr, and you can get guys literally to do this for $5 to $10. They'll set you up a bunch of maps, then it's done.
John, what if you don't want to have a specific location, but you just want to have a city?
They do not do that. Google My Business is about a business and a business location. So it's not like SitePop where you can just geo-target the center of the city. They don't go for that. So because they have to verify an address. If they can't send that postcard to the middle of a city, you're not going to get it. So They're
Well, can't you give them a specific address, but not have them, but they're going to list whatever specific address you give them publicly on the site, right?
they do have a feature where you can hide the address from public, I believe. But when you sign up for the account itself, you have to give them an address. But I do believe that they have the ability to not show it on the listing if you want to do that.
Good enough. Thanks.
Oh yeah, perfect. And so anyway, there's a lot of people that don't have these Google My Business accounts. You know, they said I think there's like 44% of businesses don't have them, which that for anybody that's supplying services to businesses, that's a good door opener. That's a good way in for you to go in. You don't even have to do the work. Literally, you can go to Fiverr, you can get a guy that'll set these things up for, 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks, and then you could charge the client hundreds of dollars to go in and do this. So that's a good door opener. Once you get the door opener, you've changed that relationship from a prospect to a customer. Now your ability to sell them on other stuff just becomes exponentially easier. So that's that's a cool deal. So anyway, create your listing, you optimize your description. One of the things you can do, you want to optimize everything. You can add keywords to your business name. Like, let's say, my internet name is Internet Dominators. So instead of just putting Internet Dominators, I could put Internet Dominators SEO experts, something like that. Or if you were a pizza parlor and it was called Joe's Cafe, oh, excuse me. Say your business name is Joe's Cafe, you could say Joe's Cafe and Pizzeria, or pizza parlor. You can add to it. You want to be careful though. Google's very picky about over optimization, so don't keyword stuff it. If you change the business name to add a keyword, make sure it's not spammy and it makes sense. That will get you penalized if you get spammy and you just stuff it with keywords. Do not do that. They're very much onto that stuff. Next is optimizing your description. Just like with your website, you have a title and a description. Those two things are very, very important in SEO or search engine optimization. The reason being is click-through ratios matter. How many people click your listing matters. Google keeps track of that. The more people that click, the more people they want to show you to. Very important you get that. That's where your description is really, really critical. If you've got a mediocre title and description, don't expect people to just click it. They're not going to. You need to have, this is where big idea comes in. You need to have calls to action. You need to have compelling reasons for them to click. One of the things that we use for titles and descriptions that get a higher click-through ratio is putting the date or a recent date, something like that. Because if somebody's looking something up online, what do they want? Old information or new information? If you're the only one that has a date of the current year in there, you're going to get clicked more because automatically they're going to see you as relevant. They're going to say, that's fresh content. That's fresh information. I want that. I don't want the stuff from last year. So simple stuff, very, very much common sense, but it seems like that is in very short supply in the world today. Common sense can give you an incredible leg up in business, believe it or not. Just simple common sense. So your description, really, really important. Again, the free website, you can do that. I really recommend you connect it to your normal website though. The verification process, I kind of spoke to that a little bit earlier. Make sure you give them the right address or you won't be able to verify it. That's really important. Let's see here. What else? Again, if you guys have any questions about this stuff, let me know. Oh, filling out your profile completely. This is with anything. This is not just with Google. This is like for those of you that are in Be Connected, cannot tell you how many profiles I've looked at that are so incomplete, no one is going to reach out to you. It's like, come on, this is your chance. This is your chance to shine. This is your chance to show the world who you are and why they want to work with you. So fill it out completely. Use images, use videos, use everything that they give you, everything at your disposal, use it. Make your listing complete. Put good photos in there, good videos. Videos should have calls to action. They should be educational. They should be compelling, all that stuff. Relevance is the key here. Relevance is the key to SEO anymore. If you're irrelevant, they turn their head, they're gone in a flash, instantly. So very important there. There's an info section. This is where, again, this is detailed information. This is where you can put your store hours, all that kind of stuff, all the business information about your site. If you've got a hotel, you can connect it to a reservation system. If you've got a restaurant, you can actually display menus and things. You can have online ordering. There's a ton of stuff that is allowed inside Google My Business to help you thrive. Reviews. There's no better place for you to be pushing people to review you than the Google reviews inside your Google My Business. All of the stuff connects. It all tells Google you are the right one that they should be putting out there. All that stuff, it's all stacking in your favor. That's what SEO is all about. It's a numbers game. It's a point system. At the end of the day, whoever has the most points is going to land on top. All these things is ways that you can add points to your authority. And again, the more you have, the more they will show you. The more they show you, the more people are going to get on your site. The more people that get on your site, the more chances you're going to have to convert. Does not mean you're going to convert better. That's the job of your website. That's the job of your marketing messages. That's the job of your funnels. That's why the ACT program is so important when you get to that point. We're in the traffic talk right now. We're talking about traffic. SEO is traffic. This is driving people. This is the end game. I'm in the assumption now that you've done all the other hard work. You've got your messaging, you've got your funnels, you've got your opt-ins, you've got your calls to action, all that stuff. Now it's time to drive traffic. SEO is a great way to drive traffic for people that are actually looking for you. It's the best traffic source on the planet, I guarantee you. There's no better place to show up in front of somebody than when they're looking for you. It's like being at the right place at the right time. So the reviews, they help that. They help give you that authority. Also, they allow messaging for people to message you right through the site. That's another thing, another feature they have. Another one is posting. You guys have probably all heard how blogs are important, blogs are great, all that stuff. All a blog is, it's just a piece of content. Don't get caught up on the word blog. I don't know who the hell came up with that, but it has just ruffled my feathers since the first day I heard it. I'm like, blog, who came up with that ridiculous name? All it is, it's an article, it's a piece of content, it's a post you're posting on your site. So anyway, they allow blog posts. You can actually post content, relevant, updated content inside your Google My Business account. Now, it will get featured as soon as you post it. It gets a priority feature. Google loves news. They love fresh stuff. And then it will taper off after about a week. So if you're going to do posting in there, you can't just do it once. You want to trickle posts in there, you know, at least once a month, maybe every 2 weeks if you've got the time, or if you've got a VA assistant, have them just take a piece of content off your site, repurpose it, or take a video and transcribe it or something. Just get a piece of relevant content. Doesn't have to be long. And just drop that post in there every few weeks, every couple of weeks, every week if you've got the time to do it. That will keep your Google My Business account fresh. Google loves to promote fresh stuff. So that's that's kind of, the majority. Another thing they have is Q&A. You can add Q&A to your Google My Business account. And let's see, features. There's all kinds of stuff. Anything that applies to your business that you can put in there, you probably want to do it. They also give you insights. They'll give you like Google Analytics that's tied to this, so you can actually see how people interact with it, which that's kind of cool. And anyway, that's kind of GMB in a nutshell. And that was a pretty big nutshell. But I thought it was important enough. That's why I put it on the message thing, on the email announcement. Was it last week, Richard? I know you called me out on it.
Yeah, that was what you were supposed to talk about last week. We got into a whole bunch of other more interesting stuff. So it's all cool.
Yeah. No, but I did. I really wanted, it wasn't meant to be a tease.
Hey, John.
Yeah, go ahead, Randy.
Hey, based on this what you talked about today, the Google My Business, what if you have more than one leg of business? Do you need to do it officially, like create a second business? I mean, how do you, because it can only seem to be one business that you're talking about at a time, correct?
Correct. It is the Google My Business is for one business. Now you could have multiple business locations. That's where you can go in, and I have never done the multiple location thing, but I know you can do it. And if you go, like I said, if you go on to Fiverr, if you do have multiple locations, you can get somebody that specifically specializes in that, because it's a little trickier to set those up. And then you can create the maps. You can map all your locations, all of that stuff.
So you're saying when you do this, you're not putting in on the application, you're not putting in your business mailing address, you're putting in a physical address.
Correct. You're putting in a business address. Like you can't use a PO box for it. They're going to know the difference.
So
And
here's the challenge then is for some people, I would imagine, would be home-based businesses, right?
yeah, that's correct. So and it's no problem. It's like, if you don't want your business listed, if you don't want your address listed, you can hide it. You can check a box that says, do not display my address on the website.
Yeah.
But Google wants to check and verify. They want to know who you say you are, basically.
If they already, so if you have a Google account and you can already be found physically at your physical address, does that make the process easier?
You mean,
I mean, if your business, well, if you Google your business, a particular business, and it comes up and your address is already there, they already know your mapping, does that make the process smoother, faster, quicker, or anything?
yeah, the more you disclose, the more Google's going to trust you. Like for me, I would think that would be kind of a trigger for them if you had a business and you didn't want the address listed. There are reasons why you would want to do that. If you're a manufacturer and you do not take people through the front door, I could see where you would not want your address listed, because you don't want people just showing up. There's a lot of different types of businesses that do not deal with the public. You don't want, Joe Public showing up on your door asking you stupid questions.
Yeah, I guess the reason I'm asking, is it quicker? Because if you just go to Google and type in, for example, Randy Powell Speaks or whatever, it comes up and it shows who I am. It shows the address and the building off to the right, et cetera, et cetera. So does that make it quicker, faster, easier to apply for the GMB? Because they already have this information.
If that's showing up, you probably already have the GMB.
But I don't remember applying for it.
You may not have. They may have collected the information and assembled that on their own.
Okay, so
In
so
that
as I,
case, in that
all
case,
right,
what you want to do is you want to go claim it so you have control over
okay, how do you do that?
it. So if you go to it, it will say this is an unclaimed listing. Click here to claim it, and then you just have to prove that that's yours. So
That's
Oh,
what,
okay.
yeah, John, that's what I did with mine. And yeah, it shows the location of my, the UPS store in the picture and on the address. It won't let me hide it, but that's what I did. I originally went in and claimed it and put all my stuff in.
yeah,
So where do you claim it at, Tim?
I did it. It was on Google. When I Googled myself, it came up and showed the business.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it had a link right there, didn't it?
Had a link right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It will
Okay.
say claim this business.
Okay, I'll have to do
If
that. Thank you.
If it doesn't say claim this business, then you've already claimed it or somebody did.
All right, let
Somebody
me look
did.
at it. Well, they better not have. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
All
Because
right.
They're going, if you have a if you have a UPS store address, which is not a PO box, they're gonna show the UPS store.
exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is at mine. If you look at mine, if you Google Tim Gillette Media, it has a picture that I put in there of my event, but it shows the shopping center of the UPS store.
Yeah, Google uses everything at their disposal to create this stuff. Now, if you have control over it, I believe you can go in there and you can change any of those images. But they
Yeah,
they will collectively scrape data from public, known, trusted sources and use it. If you don't fill it out, they're going to. They're going to fill it out with what they believe to be true. And
Yeah,
in
which is-
some cases, if you allow them to decide what's true, sometimes it's very hard to get them to change their mind.
What's freaking
I
me
mean,
out is what's freaking me out is I don't see anywhere where I can claim anything.
Well, what you would want to do is do you have a Google account?
Yes.
So go to your Google account, log into it, and then go to the Google My Business section. You'll probably just be logged into it right there.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
When I Google you, Randy, it doesn't show me. It doesn't show me that you have one.
You have to Google Randy Powell Speaks, which is what I did.
I just did. Randy Powell Speaks,
And it-
and just
And it's not coming up.
It doesn't show. Well, wait a minute now. I just got it. If I do it more onto it, it brings up and it shows you're located in the Highlands office building in Temecula.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say anything about claiming.
Then that probably means you've already claimed it.
Mhm.
Okay.
So will
It takes me, when I click
probably-
website, it takes me to your website. So
Yeah. You set this up at some point in time. You probably just didn't know what you were setting up.
I guarantee you I didn't know. Thanks.
You know-
Thanks, John. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Google wants everyone to have one of these. So they'll prompt you, like when you're in your regular Google account, they'll prompt you, hey, sign up for this, sign up for that, and you might have just done it, at that point and not even known what you were doing.
Hey, John, do you know how the messaging works? Is that done through an email, or what kind of messaging program does that use?
I have not personally used that. I just know they've added that recently. I think it's texting. I think it's text messaging, but because I don't believe Google has a messenger service. I'm not totally
mine is
sure.
my Google. Mine's a Google phone number that they have up. My Google.
I just turned it on and it says get web notification, but it doesn't specifically say how.
Yeah, it will probably prompt you to get like Tim said, a Google phone number so you can get text to it.
Okay.
I just found a button on there that says create an offer. That's what I'm doing right now, John. Why not? I'm offering something.
Yeah,
I got an event coming up. Why not offer it?
Absolutely. There's all kinds of functions and features in there at your disposal to help you promote your business. So again, there's no reason not to do anything that's relevant to you. Let's see here. So I'll just show you guys, if you are not sure what we're talking about here, I'm just going to share my screen. So I just went to Google and I typed in Internet Dominators, and it says, this is because I'm logged in, it's showing me this right here. So if you type this in, you'll see this piece over here. This is my GMB listing. So again, it's got pictures, it's got maps, it's got, anything you want to load up here. Like this image here, I didn't take that. Google took that and added it in.
I was gonna be like, that's a damn nice back patio you got there, John.
That's actually my front porch. Yeah, this is the view from my front door. If I look to the right, if I look straight, you go out to the street. But that's my little front porch right there. If you click on images, it will take you, over to the images. This is a great image I've used. This is basically, me speaking to a crowd, and I took the screen here and I superimposed. I lay images in there, like whatever I want to do, and then I put these, text over the top of it. This has been a really powerful image in ads. This thing has worked phenomenally. I've tested all kinds of different images. This one worked by far the best. It's showing actual what I'm promoting. So, and here, what's that? New customers. That's the promise. Here's ad agency secrets being revealed. What's that? The unique mechanism. So it's big idea in visual form right here. So again, that's pretty cool stuff. This is moving into my backyard. That's my little tiki hut that I do masterminds in. So I know a lot of you guys have been here and actually seen that. This is the front walkway going up to my house. You can't even see the house through the jungle. My greeters. But anyway, you can load up as many photos in here as you want. Tim, you do a drink here and there. There's my bar.
Yeah, someday, John, I'm coming to drink with you at that bar.
Oh, come on down. And here I've got, product images, logos, pictures of me. There's a big idea, attract raving fans like Elvis. There's my social media header. Again, this, I guarantee you, Google took that picture. Because I would not, my Dominator cars, I would put those on. I wouldn't put my wife's Bug on here with the hippie stickers on it for business. They did that.
Look at the shadow in the lower center left. That's
Yep,
the
right
Google
there.
Mass.
Yeah, that's the Google Maps. So they will fill in the dots. They're going to add information to your site, given that you don't have it.
So that's your actual house, John?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You got guts. I won't show them where my house is anymore. I've had too many haters in my day. Yeah.
Oh, I don't have any haters, and no haters and plenty of ammunition.
Well, I've got that. I'm in Texas. Come on. Yeah.
But anyway, that's that's kind of the GMB. Let me see if I can get out of the images here. There we go. So now we're back. So anyway, if this is your listing and you're logged into Google, over here you're going to see this. This is where you can edit your profile. You can actually promote it. They'll give you all kinds of options to promote it. Customers, add exterior photo. They don't believe I've added an exterior photo because they didn't actually see a building. They saw a jungle. That's why they sent the car out to take a picture of it. They didn't believe it. They didn't believe my images that I put up there. So talk about some untrusting people. Here's add an update. That's where you can put a post in there. Here's where you can answer questions. So there's a lot of things that you can do to update your profile and get more business.
The reviews part, John, should we get people to do, like, put our testimonials on here, or get people to actually do the reviews because they want to see that you did a review of my business, not I added the review of you doing my business?
Correct. So see where I've got people that have reviewed me here. Get more reviews gives you the link to send out to people. So they've got buttons all over this thing for you to update it. Add a photo right there. Send your phone. Apparently they don't believe my phone number. Ask a question. They get all these links for stuff that you can do. Add an update. So add your profiles, like I put my Facebook profile in there. You could put your LinkedIn, all kinds of other stuff. And here it'll tell you also what people searched for. So you can see, what else they're interested in when they're in here. Now here's something since the oldest thing that Google knows about me is that I've provided internet services, web hosting services. Way back, I even did dial-up services. So they consider me an internet service provider. To the best of my abilities, I have not been able to change their mind on that in the last 25 years. So if you don't inform them and prove who you are and what you do, and they decide for you, it's very difficult to get them to change their mind. So that's why it's important that you go in, you fill this out, and you start training them for what you want them to know you for. All that.
I see you got to think there from Foursquare, John. You remember Foursquare? Is that still even a viable thing anymore?
I don't even know. I don't even remember doing that, but apparently I did.
Funny thing was when Foursquare like 2012, 13 was really, really popular. One guy actually was doing house rob. When I lived down by the lake, he was robbing a house or something, and noticed like on Foursquare, he's playing game and decided to check into somebody's house.
Yeah.
All right. And he was robbing it. And that's how the police caught him. That was funny as hell.
Yeah. It's possible. It's quite possible here that Foursquare might have scraped my data to create that.
Yeah.
But Manta, I know I did sign up for the Manta, the YouTube. It's got my YouTube channel. There's a Tumblr account. One of my outsourcers did that. He just, scraped data out of there. The more stuff that you have, there's my actual website right there. It's kind of buried in the rest of it. I've got a Yelp listing.
Yeah.
And so the idea here, when somebody types in a keyword that is proprietary to you, I mean, who else is Internet Dominator? That's me. So where do you see on this page something that doesn't lead back to me? That should be your goal. All roads lead to you when somebody types in one of your brand keywords.
Now, where would you actually put your keywords in there? I'm also struggling with the category. The category of my business, they have a drop-down list that it's not anything close. Can you, and it doesn't look like you can just add anything different. Like, can you add SEO agency to a primary business category, but it doesn't allow it?
You can generally do that in the subject. That was one of the first things I talked about. Like, you can add a keyword into your subject, or not your subject, your business name, your title. You can add a keyword in there and usually get away with it. So like if you were, Joe's Cafe, but it was also a pizzeria, you could say, Joe's Cafe and Pizza Parlor. Just don't.
I sold a gun last year. Can I put down on a gun shop? Because nobody can run ads against me on that.
Yeah, I would probably stay away from the guns and drugs with Google. That would be a good way to get out.
Well, no, if you Google gun shops, it'll give you locations, but no one can buy an ad to sell guns or.
Oh, yeah.
That's what their new thing is. And like, that's what I said. Like, if that was your keyword, oh my God, nobody's buying that keyword right now because Google won't sell it.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Anywhere. And again, like, you just need to show up in front of people when they're searching for you. Like for me, if somebody searches for Internet Dominators, I wouldn't want them to find anyone else. And that's what I've done here by filling out all of these profiles, the Facebook page, the Yelp listing, Crunchbase, my actual website. So tell us, these guys do reviews. So I've got a review service with them. And I don't know if you guys have seen So Tell Us or not. I've got it in our resources category. But they're a really cool thing. That's an app on a phone that you can send a link to somebody, or you can text somebody. They click the link and they just give you a video review right off their phone. And it posts. And it also distributes it out to your Google My Business reviews and all of that stuff. So it'll post your reviews in a bunch of different places, plus on their website. And it'll say, has 5 stars on So Tell Us. So these guys, they rank pretty well. I mean, they're ranking right below my actual site. So that's a pretty strong listing.
That is from. Do you have time to show that at all? Does that
So
work?
Sotellus, if you click on it, it'll take you to their site. So this is Sotellus. This is my business listing. And then you can see the reviews and you can see the ones that are posted to Google. So these went directly to my Google profile right from here. So when somebody does the review, here's video reviews. They can do a video, an audio, or a text. Just, you know, whatever they're comfortable with. They can put the star rating. And you know, there's Michelle. She's part of the group. There's Jim. He's on. So I don't know if you remember doing that, Jim, but I probably sent you a link to give me a review through the Sotellus app, and it's a pretty cool little deal.
So, John, stupid question.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't you putting your links in the chat box?
Oh, I'm just too freaking lazy.
If you do that, I'll sign up. So
Not a stupid question, a stupid answer, right? I actually don't know offhand what that link is, but I can probably tell you. Here's how to find it. If you go to my site, let's see. Let me see if I can figure out how to navigate my own site. Customer reviews under About Us. If you go to customer reviews, you'll see I haven't put it here either. Great. What a good display that was. Okay, let's see. I guess I probably need to do that.
I don't feel so bad.
Oh yeah, it's pretty easy to keep up with me actually. Yeah, I guess there's a widget. I actually have a Sotellus widget and it's supposed to go on there. So I will fix that. How's that sound? So when you go to the customer reviews site, you will see the Sotellus widget here, and I'll add that in. So that was an embarrassing display of idiocy.
Thanks for being transparent, John.
No problem. Happy to assist. Now there's something interesting. Did you just see what happened there? I don't know if you noticed that, but we were on a particular page in my site. We were back to the home page, which is the first page we landed on. And I clicked the back button to go to Google, and we didn't go back to Google. We went to this page. Did you guys see that or notice that?
Yeah, tell me how to do that.
That is a script that I wrote long ago to prevent bounce rate. It's my debounce script. And again, that's another thing that's free in the resource center. And what I did, I wrote a script that rewrites the history of the back button. And you can put it onto your website and just paste it in the header code. And you can tell it what link you want to replace the history in the back button with. So I put this one in. And you know, this is my client acquisition page. And some people have said, you know, isn't that going to piss people off when they want to go back and you're not allowing them to do it? And I'm like, no, if they hit back, you've already pissed them off. You've already done an effective job at that. This is your last chance for redemption. So it's no different than an exit pop. You know, exit pops are like when you go toward the back button, the exit pop will pop up and say, wait a minute, you know, you might have missed this, whatever. In my opinion, that pisses them off more than anything because now they've got to close a window.
Yeah, that's much more effective to do it with just take it to a different place in your site than one of those irritating pop-ups. Those things really piss people off.
Yeah, exactly. So
how many times do you have to hit the back button to get rid of it though, John?
Well, I had clicked it multiple times there. Typically, you only have to click it one more time and it'll take you back where you wanted to go.
And where is this that I can get this code from? Where do you have this?
It's in the ACT program under the free stuff, the bonus section.
Okay.
It's called debounce. That's just a little text script. You change the URL of where you want the page to forward to, and you just paste it into your header. There's also a guy, after I did this, many years after I did that, there's a guy that came up with a WordPress plugin. And I've got a link to that also if you want to just not mess with my code and you want to just get a WordPress plugin. There's a link to that as well in there. So I don't remember what the plugin was called, but I called mine the debounce script. And I used that debounce script as a lead magnet. I got a ton of opt-ins giving that script away. I never charged anybody for it. I gave it away for free. And guess what? It was so relevant. I knew damn well anybody that downloaded that script was into SEO, right? So I built myself a very, very responsive list because I had something ultra relevant, something ultra desirable, something that they could use. They could actually implement that script in about 5 minutes and have that done. And guess what? They're going to want more. I just gave them a cookie. You think they're going to want some milk to go along with it?
Probably, yeah. That's brilliant.
So,
John, with regard to the SEO stuff, one of the things that you say is that nobody is interested in SEO, and yet you're saying that with the Google My Business, SEO might be an option or something you might put in your title. Why would you, at that point, violate the nobody wants SEO rule? They all want client acquisition or lead magnet stuff.
well, I was just using that as an example. Now, when I say nobody wants SEO, business owners don't want SEO. That's not what they're interested in. But when I'm doing like the debounce script, I'm targeting SEO guys that want to do SEO, that know SEO, that, you know, they're not normal business people. They're a nutty bunch of, you know, it's a nutty group. they're kind of freaks. And I fit right in.
Because you're actually selling them SEO services that they then resell.
Yeah, or training, like my SEO Dominator training. They're learning SEO from somebody that's done it since day one. There's nothing I haven't seen. There's nothing left to surprise me at this point with SEO. So they can learn, from that. They can get access to my resources. There's, and then that I always, at this point, it was probably about 8 years ago at this point where I switched my whole SEO methodology over to the ACT program. To me, ACT is now SEO. Analysis, creation, and traffic. That's the format. That's the foundation of SEO. If you don't get that right, you're not going to survive in SEO. If you don't have your messaging, if you haven't figured out your market, if you haven't figured out what they want, why they want it, you're not going to survive. It's just that simple, whether you're doing SEO or not. Either you have a very large group of friends or you have some very powerful people willing to push people to you. If you don't have one of those, you're not going to do very well. If you don't figure out your messaging, that's something I can almost guarantee. I've seen it over and over and over. People that get the messaging right, they convert and they do well in business. All they have to do is believe in it enough and know it works and spend the money to drive the right traffic to that message. That's the keys to the kingdom. I know a lot of people are apprehensive about spending money on traffic, and I get it. You've probably done it and it probably didn't work, but it didn't work because you didn't have the messaging right. If it doesn't work, if your marketing does not work, I can guarantee you're going to find the problem in one of three buckets. Either you've not identified the market, you've not created the right message, or you've not driven the right people to that message. That is ACT, ACT. It's three buckets. You have to get everyone right. If you don't, I guarantee you're going to suffer. I've never seen anybody miss one of the buckets and do well. Never.
John, can we use that as a segue to what you offered me in my email yesterday?
Sure, we could do that. Let me pull up your email here. There's actually a couple of them I wanted to hit. You're number one.
Yeah, the last email is the finalized version of the first half.
Yeah, that was the one you sent yesterday.
Late yesterday, late in the day.
Okay, so let me share the screen here. We will run the video and we'll see what you got.
You a manufacturing business with annual sales of $2 to $10 million? Would you like to tap into today's ultimate word of mouth advertising platform, one that generates a steady?
Now here, you might want to switch that up to, if you're a manufacturer, you want this. Actually tell them. You might want to say that. You identify them and connect them to what they want right out of the gate.
A flow of high quality customers and leads 100% on autopilot without becoming a marketing expert, without cold calling or manual prospecting, without wasting money on ads.
Now here, right here, this is an NLP thing. If somebody's reading this, they're reading cold calls. They're not connecting this without. In NLP, the human mind doesn't know the word not. It doesn't know the word no. It connects to what it sees, and what it sees here is it says cold calls. That's what my eye is drawn to, because that's a thing I recognize. So if you're going to do that, you might say no need for cold calls. You know, connect to the no need instead of putting the without up here. I get why you did it. It makes sense logically why you did it. But from the NLP perspective, the mind doesn't know no. When it hears something, it connects it. Like if they say to a kid, don't spill the milk, the kid is going to spill the milk because you gave them a subconscious command. So you have to be careful with that. And, you know, I don't know if you guys know Matt Browning. I learned everything I know about NLP from Matt, and I learned a lot from him.
John, you're making me feel like an idiot. I have a master's level certification in NLP from Richard Bandler. I know that. And it's like, this is why you have to have fresh eyes looking at this stuff.
Yeah. So I didn't go through a lot of training, but I learned a lot from what I did. So
you can't track, and without you needing to lift a finger, I want to introduce you to our artificial intelligence network called the Ideal Customer Experience Matrix. It is the best way to power your business to the next level of growth faster than ever before, so you can finally relax and have the time you deserve to focus on the more rewarding parts of your business and personal life.
now this is the part where I think it's really good. This part is awesome. You're doing short punches. In the beginning, you had a lot of text. These are better, short punches, short little lines. This is good stuff.
Interested? Hi, my name is Richard Porter. I'm 71 years old and have been a serial entrepreneur my entire life. Bottom line, I'm a business owner.
This page is a disaster. You have what, 4 or 5 fonts going on here. In basic design, they say stick to one font. Stick to something that is congruent. This is like all over the place. And you got a lot going on in here. And you want to keep whatever's on the screen should be relevant to what you're saying, like right now, right in the moment.
Just like you. One of my most successful ventures was profitability consulting. Its purpose was to put...
This is great. See the difference between the last slide and this slide? You're talking about profitability consulting, and you're showing a woman that's got a shitload of cash in her hand. You're right on the money here.
More spendable dollars on my client's bottom line. That process always involved creating a constant and reliable flow of new high-quality leads and customers. It was so successful, I was able to leverage those profits into real estate development. But Unfortunately, in September 2008, the global economy crashed, taking my real estate business and me along with it. I knew that getting back into sales and marketing was the key to quickly rebuilding my success from scratch, if I could once again figure out how to change the game in my favor. Fast forward today, I'd say I've figured it out. I've assembled a team that has a deep understanding of how the internet works, what it wants, and the how and why behind the artificial intelligence algorithm that now controls it. We have cracked the code on how to get our clients in front of their ideal customers at the very moment those ideal customers are searching for someone who does what our clients do.
See, that's awesome. You're nailing the promises right down. You're nailing the unique mechanism right down.
We can do that because over the past 11 years, we have perfected our own proprietary artificial intelligence network that tilts the playing field in favor of our customers. Our ideal customer experience matrix, or ICE for short.
So for everybody, ICE, that's the unique mechanism. That's the thing that's delivering the result. The result is putting them in front of their ideal prospect at the right time when they're looking for them. So that's the promise.
Is an unfair competitive advantage that generates fresh, high-quality customers and leads for our clients. Here's an example of how it works. My friend Jerry's story is a typical one. He started learning the ropes in his family's manufacturing business while still in high school. Built on great quality and solid industrial referrals, his family's company thrived and grew steadily into the new century. He didn't pay much attention when this new internet thing raised its head in the mid-90s. It was just another passing fad, he thought. On the other hand, word of mouth, direct mailing, and those big green books were still serving him well. So Jerry stayed the course with his tried and true methods. Like many US manufacturers, Jerry did adopt new technologies on his factory floors, but hadn't yet adopted the new digital technologies into his sales and marketing. But by 2011, the green books, directories, and prospective customers were going the way of the yellow pages, which is to say, they were either disappearing or going online.
So that little story right there could have been wrapped up in about 10 seconds. It was a little too drawn out. You could have said, you know, what he learned was boom. And, you know, and then you just make the statements, you know, the stuff of the past, the yellow pages is gone. The internet is the way. He missed the boat. You could,
I'm sort of following, excuse me, two masters here. One guy that has that's mastered YouTube advertising, which is what this is supposed to be, as a YouTube ad. And you, and I like the two of you. I'm, like I said in my email to you, I hope I'm getting apples and cinnamon and not toothpaste and orange juice here. But he believes that storytelling and letting people know that you know their story, that you really connect with them. And so that's why the storytelling is a bit more lengthy than just doing the bullet points, because you want them to know that you actually identify with who they are. You're using their language, like you say, you know what they're doing. You're saying that's still a little bit too long in your.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. Storytelling is like number one. Storytelling is awesome, but the length of the story, you can easily lose people. You've got to cut those stories down to the point, like boom, boom, boom. You know, the long drawn out stories, unless you are really compelling and you've got, you know, you can hold them, you just want to be careful. The stories, look at it to like, how can I condense this? How can I shorten this up? The same story, the same point, the same end result, as short as possible. That's it. But stories are great. Don't get me wrong.
Okay, so just condense it down, tighten it up.
Yep, just tighten it up. That's it.
With the increasing amount of data available online, Jerry found that buyers and purchasing managers were turning to the internet as opposed to business acquaintances for supplier and product information as they had done in the past. As a result, like so many other manufacturing business owners, Jerry wasn't sure what to prioritize first when it came to making the shift to online digital marketing. You see, history had proven that referrals, or inbound marketing, had always provided the highest quality leads and customers. So, given that the internet had all the answers, Jerry went online and Googled internet inbound marketing. He found articles on content marketing, social media marketing, email marketing, search engine marketing, e-commerce, and online product catalogs, pay-per-click advertising, and search engine optimization, or S.
See, all of that, you could say he was overwhelmed with what he found. And then just cut to the chase. SEO was the thing that made the difference, or whatever it is.
SEO. It took very little investigation to realize that all of those things, with the exception of SEO, were in fact really outbound marketing strategies that would hopefully eventually result in some inbound leads.
So you could have said there that he was overwhelmed with the outbound marketing strategies. And what he found was inbound was the only way to go, and that's the only thing that mattered.
However, they were all two-step processes with many failure points. On the other hand, he had discovered that SEO, or getting a website to rank organically on the first page of Google, was the key priority for manufacturers and industrial companies. But there was also a problem with SEO. Back on October 26th in 2015, Google dropped a bag of hammers on the SEO community. It was called the RankBrain Artificial Intelligence. RankBrain measures users' behavior signals like how the users react with content, how satisfied they are with it, what listings they click on. It tries to understand the searcher's intent to serve up the best possible results. And it learns. So it gets better and better. So Jerry wondered, how do you beat RankBrain? You know, trick it into ranking your site on page 1? Well, it turns out you can't. Jerry found that the SEO world was reporting,
unlike other ranking factors, you really can't optimize for RankBrain in the traditional sense.
Which meant that now getting onto page 1 with Google was even more difficult than before. Jerry was getting desperate. He'd been experiencing a slowdown in his traditional offline customer acquisition strategies, and his search for online solutions was proving daunting. Then, in 2020, the world changed. The COVID-19 global pandemic. Then, supply chain disruptions and ongoing trade wars. Jerry was feeling the walls closing in. Plus, as a result of all these black swan events, the relentless transition to online had accelerated by a factor of 5.3, meaning that the shift to online that would have normally taken until 2027 was upon him now. As a result, Jerry was feeling the pain of this problem big time and realized it was no longer an option to be online. His business growth had become stagnant, and he felt like he had hit a wall and was getting nowhere. Fortunately, Jerry found us. We deliver on 2 simple questions.
So back to that one, there was kind of, for me, there was kind of an awkward transition between where you were and then injecting the COVID thing. What I would probably do there is use Frank Kern's method of transition, which he calls twist the knife. And when he does the twist the knife, his transition usually goes something like this. If that weren't bad enough, it gets even worse. Then we add COVID-19 into the mix and go right into that statistic of this accelerated things 5.2% or whatever, 5.2 times. I think that would make that transition smooth or smoother.
If we could refer someone to you, who would be the perfect person for us to find for you? And what if we could get Google to refer you enough of those perfect people so that you could pick and choose who to take on as new clients? What we can provide is premier access for your company to the ultimate word-of-mouth advertising platform for the 21st century.
That's it. That goes into then what you do is pretty much.
Ultimate is spelled wrong. FYI, Richard, ultimate is spelled wrong.
Well, just little things like that will help. Thank you.
You're welcome. Love you.
And then I go into basically your presentation to the pool people a version on that, John, and then go into the close.
Okay. But that overall, I mean, that was great. That is an outstanding platform to start from for you. You know, that I think the stuff that I mentioned was minor stuff. It's just sharpening the sword. But you had you got a great base to work from with that.
Well, thank you. I really want to sharpen the sword, which is why I really wanted your input, and I really appreciate. Now, go ahead, guys, pile on if you need to. So we'll start with the spelling errors.
I'm pretty good at sharpening the sword.
Absolutely. We're going to continue this conversation because the whole thing at this point is about 14 minutes long, and Peter, who's the other fellow, says that he would really think these things should be about 7 to 8 minutes long. And I can see now where I can possibly cut out those extra minutes that I have. Although I do happen to believe the old adage that you can't be too long, you can only be too boring. But the key to it that you pointed out is I'm running the risk of getting boring at a couple points there, and I don't want to lose people at that point.
Yeah, the shorter you can condense things in any funnel, the better off you'll be. You know, don't drag out, don't belabor stuff. I just like, I'm getting better at this in my just everyday life of getting people to land the chopper because they're hovering. And I never used to say anything. I just sit there and cringe, and it's just gotten to the point where my time to me is just too valuable to let somebody babble on. And I'm getting much better at that personally. It's not comfortable for me to cut somebody off and do that, but I'm warming up to it. But here's the thing, your prospects, they're not going to be uncomfortable. If you bore them at all, boom, they're just gone. They're not face to face. There's no sense of remorse. It's not like you're in a room. If you're on stage, you have a little more advantage, because if for them to get up and walk out, they're going to have a little bit of an uncomfortable feeling. But if they're watching your video, they're not uncomfortable at all. It's like, oh yeah, there's a good TV show going on, you know, or oh, there's my dog. What's he doing? You know, it's like they're just gone.
Yeah, as we get older, our time does get more valuable. I know what you're saying there.
Yeah.
One of my pet peeves is that way too frequently the background music competes with what the person is saying, to the point maybe I'm just getting old and my hearing isn't as good as it was. So I tried to make my background music rather low, and because people were getting it 2 levels out, I didn't even hardly even hear the background music the way that you were playing it. However, in the first person there, when you were listening to it, is the background music about right, or should I bring it up a little bit, or is it where it belongs? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I definitely would not bring it up. It should be down. It's only there just to subdue like any background sound. That's all it really is for. Because if you have no background music and it's just silent, any little thing they're going to hear and it's going to detract. So it's just a buffer.
Well, the music is actually trying to enhance the emotional experience without hitting them over the head with it. I mean, and you go to the movie, and most of the time you're not even aware of all the music that's going on that's carrying the emotion and stuff. And that's what I'm trying to do with the background music that I put in there.
Exactly. Yeah. And I felt like it kind of did that. So Woody, yeah.
Hey, Richard.
Go, my man.
Richard.
We're listening. Yes, go ahead.
You know, I'm a musician, and your voice is dead throughout that whole presentation. You know, I would take a little acting coaching or something. I don't get any joy. Now, I'm a novice at this. I don't know anything, but I know people. And you gotta know who your audience is. Because if there are people that talk like you're in the pocket. But are they? And, you know, I mean, to me, now I'm all wrong. I got a program that's failing, so I should probably shut my mouth. But the other thing is that I know in sales, they got to know you and they got to like you and they got to trust you. Now, to me, if you said, you know what, I got great news, how to get in with Google, and I know how. I'm a master at it. I would skip all this shit about the market crashing and you lost your fucking job. Nobody cares about that. What they want is the mojo. You got the mojo, bro. You should be like a newsboy. Now, I don't know if John feels that way, but your presentation put me to sleep. And I'll tell you why, because I'm a novice. And all I wanted to know is one thing, like I know with John, send them the 35 a month and you're in the rodeo. You may not know what the hell they're riding. You may not know the cowboys, but you're having a good time. And I would just say, you know, if your guys are all people in business that are getting lost in the technology shuffle, man, you're the best thing since manna from heaven. But I don't get it. And I think the last thing is I have a TV commercial that runs 30 seconds. Does it say everything I do? No. But it gives them the opportunity to jump on if they want the big idea. Multiple offers on their properties. Anyway, that's enough for me. Good work, Richard. I know how much work it takes.
Yeah. The one thing, like what Woody said there about the monotone thing, that is absolutely true. And that's something that I personally have struggled with for a long time, because a lot of times I come off very monotone. I you know, I don't get excited a lot. And that was one of the things that when I was learning from Matt Browning about the NLP stuff, he just beat me over the head with, you know, pushing the envelope on the visual, the audio, and the kinesthetic. You know, the kinesthetic are the feel good people, and they like excitement. They like to feel the emotion. And it's just very hard for me to do. And it's probably going to be the same with you on that. So that's just something that you're going to have to work on. It's bringing your tone up and down and you know, just putting the oomph into it.
Well, hey, John, you know that I did public service announcements and I know how I can goose it up if I really want to. But I kind of thought that maybe as a business owner, we might want to tone it down just a bit, because I know about the audio, visual, and kinesthetic, and we can kick it up. But it just seems to me like that was just a bit too much over the top.
Well, just cut it in half.
Yeah, but if it's a bunch of bullshit, it's not going to wash. I mean, it's really got to come from the heart.
Yeah.
Because, you know, half the shows I see on the internet are these women with shrill voices, and they instantly turn me off. You really got to watch out for that stuff. And being jacked up is different than being really
excited,
giving, and ready to fucking die for your customer.
You know what? Poor Roger's been holding his hand up for a long time, and he's got something to say, and then I want to add something as well.
Well, let me hit Roger real quick, and then I want to get on to Ron because he's got another one I want to go through too. So we'll, Roger.
Thank you, Randy. Richard, I liked your slides. I get the long form. Everything about it was great, except for me, it was the very first minute. And that's the first impression minute, because you were talking to us with your face, which is a great establishment shot. But two things for me turned me right off. I wouldn't have seen the rest of it. And that is one, you were clearly reading, and eye contact was wherever the words were, not me, the viewer. It's subtle, but your eyes were distinctly off, and it made a big difference. And I know that in my Toastmasters that I do weekly, sometimes I don't have a teleprompter set up and I want one, but I actually use my phone. I set up my phone with nano prompter and I put it below, right on my screen. And I actually put my cam right on the top of the phone, and I run a prompter on it. And Logitech's webcams are set up so that you look like you're looking at them. I'm now looking 3.5 inches below my camera, and I believe I look like I'm looking at you. So I always get like, how are you memorizing your speeches when you're looking at us, from my evaluators? And the answer is they don't know it, but I'm talking to a prompter.
What camera is it that you're using? Because that's an issue that I was looking at, because I literally had my teleprompter right behind the camera. So I was actually looking through the camera at the teleprompter. And if it's still doing what you're talking about, what's the camera that you're talking about
Okay, good. That's a great question, Richard. Any mirrorless interchangeable lens camera or DSLR, if you look, you have to look directly at the lens. But if you're using a webcam, most of the modern ones, including the Logitech 920, 922 series, which I'm using, they have a refraction prism lens in it that they assume you're going to mount at the top of your monitor. So they try to help you as much as they can by putting the eye center about 4 inches below the actual lens. So when you look at the lens, you're actually looking not quite at the point. And I actually have a translucent yellow sticker, a little plastic sticker that's used on moving boxes to tell people, this goes to the kitchen, etc. I have it stuck on my monitor at the point I'm supposed to look at, which is not where the camera is, but I've gotten so accustomed to looking at it. So let me take you back to 1944, and I can talk directly to my audience, and I'm not staring at my lens at all. So if you're using a webcam, it'll be below. If you're using a mirrorless or a DSLR, it'll be at the lens, and you need a translucent glass, but I don't need translucent glass. I'm using a webcam. Brio, Tim has the Brio. That's a Logitech great one. Same thing. You'll have to have somebody else on the other side say, does it look like I'm looking at you now? Does it look like I'm looking at you now? And you'll be able to get it. I do it for myself.
I can do a screen grab and tell real quickly, because right now I have my camera literally over your face on my monitor. And, does it look like I'm looking at the camera? And
No.
I am literally looking through the camera to your face on the monitor. So I got to get a different camera then. Thank you. So you're saying Logitech 920, 922?
Yeah, either of those series are kind of the go-to. They're decent quality, about what you have. I'm using one now. It's all about lighting, but there's upgrades. Brio is better, and the brand new released Elgato face cam is even a step above for a couple $100. This one's $100.
Super great feedback, because I was having a problem with that myself, because I'm sitting here reading, I'm looking literally at the camera, and the words are behind the camera, and it's still not doing what I want it to do. So,
and last thing, Richard, is you have, like I do, these eye bags, and that gives me droopy lids unless I have to hike my camera up a little and keep my face low and look up a bit so my eyes get wider, so it looks like I'm engaged. Otherwise, I'm looking sleepy. When it was at normal height, I was looking at the camera, but I was still had my lids looked half closed, and people were like, why are you so dead?
Yeah.
So I had to lift it so that I have to look up a bit, and my eyelids go up higher, and my eyes look a little bigger in my head. I have a big head.
Yeah, super stuff. Thank you very much. That's really critical, because that is an issue. What do you want, Alice?
All right, let me cut in here. We're going to move on to Ron now. And
thank you, John. Thank you. What, Alice?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I make a couple of quick comments, John, or no?
We've gone way too long on this.
All right. I'll talk to you later, Richard.
Yeah.
You have my email.
Yeah, Richard, put your email in there in case anybody else wants to throw more stuff your way. No problem. I
Be happy to. Thank you, John.
make sure I get to everybody here that I got on the list. Okay, Ron, this guy is probably one of the most brilliant guys that walks the face of the earth. He rubbed shoulders and worked directly with my father, who he was a pretty sharp cat himself. But anyway, I want to share the screen here. I have put a video in the chat. I think I put that in. Let me make sure here. There you go. There's the, I'm not going to play the whole video through. I'm just going to hit some key components here because a lot of it is going to be the same with Richard. But let me just start this up here.
Hi there. My name is Ron Webb. I am the chief formulator and co-founder of KPS Essentials. And if you're listening to me right now, it's because you want to hear about scars. I've been doing this since 2012.
See, that was a little dry, that you want to hear about scars. It's not, there's no emotion there. One of the things you might segue into that is say, you know, and I know I heard the rest of your story with your scar and how that affected you and how it made other people feel about you. And that makes for a great story, but it needs to be condensed in, and it could be part of your intro. Could be, you could come in there. One of the key things is connecting to people. So you could say, if you're anything like me and you've got a scar that's made you uncomfortable, and maybe it's even affected your life in certain ways, and then you can tell them how it affected yours. But again, really quick, to the punch, to the point. And the same thing, I think a lot of us on here, the more methodical we are and the scientific we are, like I know Richard is very much like that. Ron's very much like that. I'm very much like that. We tend to be fairly monotone. And for other people, like for Woody, to watch a monotone presentation, there's a lot of people out there that are our ideal customers, that they fall into the kinesthetic side of things, or the audio or the visual. And the guys in the audio and the kinesthetic, they like things to be like, you know, more up and down and more emotional, things like that. The visual guys, the visual stimulates them enough. You know, they get what they need, you know, mentally out of the visual. But the guys that are in the kinesthetic, they need to feel things from the words and the images and all that. So that's kind of one of the things. The other thing too, I put the link in there if any of you guys want to watch this through. But Ron, one of the things I noticed here is you are all over the place with stories and things, and I'm not really sure. You've probably got about 20 different videos in this one video. And I don't know if you're trying to make just one video that covered it all. But what I would recommend doing is breaking down like big ideas out of this, because you've got a bunch. I mean, the information in here is awesome, but the segues of how it goes from one to the next,
they're cumbersome.
You're trying to appeal to everyone, and by doing that, you may appeal to no one.
Got it.
And I mean, you've got great stuff in here. An example is like 10 minutes in. This is a really good one. Let me play this here.
But what I'm doing now is I want people to get involved in these scars. I don't carry these things around with you. They're unnecessary. You don't need surgery, which is expensive. You don't need lasers, which is damaging. So is surgery, obviously. You got the scar from being cut. Surgery will give you another cut.
That right there is probably one of the most powerful things you said in the whole thing.
Okay.
You know, you got cut. Surgery is going to give you another cut. You could formulate a whole big idea out of that.
Yes.
Because, you know the person on the other end, you know they've got a scar, right? You know the pain that they've got. So you could actually formulate that into a big idea. That's something like, you know, do you have a scar that makes you uncomfortable? You want to learn how I used aerospace technology to solve that problem? You know, it gives you a unique mechanism that's like, what the hell is it? You know, how does aerospace, how is that going to melt my scar away? You know, it's compelling. It'll get somebody that, you know, your key point is surgery is damaging. You've already experienced damage. Do you want more? No. You know, let me show you how I discovered an aerospace technology that solved my problem, and it can solve yours too. Now they're going to lean in. They're going to go, yeah, tell me about that. That in itself could be like a 1 to 2 minute video that had the big idea in the front end in the first 10 seconds. And then you show them how it works and you give them a call to action, and boom, you're done.
Perfect. And I've got amazing before and afters. Would you put some of that B-roll in there when I'm talking, or?
Sure, absolutely. As long as you keep it relevant. Like if you're talking about this would be really good if you had one of yours, because I heard your story about, you know, your scar and how it affected you in a presentation. And, you know, in your mind, that was all they were seeing of you. And that put you psychologically at a disadvantage, you know, in that meeting. So if you could be telling that story, and again, you condense the stories as much as possible, compact the shit out of those things, get right to the point, and then show the visuals, you know, because like I said, you're going to have audio, visual, and kinesthetic viewers all mixed into the same bundle. And that's all you should focus on. You should focus on one point, one promise, one unique mechanism, but hit all three of those categories of people, because they're all going to be in the same mix. When you've got, there's a difference between hitting all three in one message and trying to hit a bunch of messages. You don't try and hit a bunch of messages, but you want to touch all three of those personality factors in each message that you do.
Okay.
That's where, you know, like your voice coming up and down, and, you know, again, you're like me, you're a little monotone. And that's something I've struggled with for a long time. I've gotten much better now. Like you can hear my voice kind of go up and down a little bit. I still suck at it, but
I'm used to talking to these generals and bunch of aerospace guys, and they don't like you playing around too much.
Exactly. You know, you don't want to be hypey with them. You want to be cool, calm, collected, monotone, authoritative. And that works with them. But remember, they're not who you're talking to now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just adapt. Just become a chameleon. If you're, you know, if you know your audience is wounded, you know, it's like you might have to bring it down to their wounded level, and then bring them up and bring them out of it with your, you know, you lead them to the light.
Yeah.
If you get excited about, you know, a miracle cure that's going to help you, they're going to get excited too. They're going to go right along with you.
Yeah. Okay.
So everything about a marketing campaign is absolutely engineered. Everything, including your performance. So that's same with Richard, you know, it's one of the, for me, it's one of the hardest things, because I'm just not that way. It's like I feel out of my skin sometimes when I do it.
Yeah, I can step it up, so I'll do that too. And I get take it down to one big idea.
Because you got great, yeah, your whole video here, it's like 12 minutes loaded of golden nuggets, but you've got enough for probably 20 different videos out of here. So just, you know, strip them down. Whenever you create a piece, you have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? What's the end in mind? What do I want the person to do? What do I want them to get out of it? And then stay focused, stay true to that point, and deliver what you meant to deliver on. You know, if you've got somebody that's got a scar, they feel bad about it, and you've got the solution, that's it. That's the story. You know, only inject things that are relevant, related to that. Images, testimonials are great. especially if it was you. You know, a lot of times people will relate to you if they feel like they're like you.
Right.
So
I can also, there's, you know, a lot of our customers are doctors. So there are doctors that will stand up and say, absolutely, we use this in our practice for scars. So I can have a doctor testimonial, maybe down there below also. So
a doctor testimonial is awesome for one thing. A doctor testimonial is a perfect proof point. Like if you're doing a claim proof benefit, like let's say you've got a person that doesn't believe that this scar can be healed. Let's say they've tried surgery, they've tried everything they could think of and it didn't work. So they have this belief now that, hey, nothing's going to work. I just have a scar and I just got to deal with it. So if you come in and you make the claim that I have, you know, aerospace technology built into my miracle serum and it's going to remove this scar, they're going to have a hidden belief that no, it's bullshit, because they believe that. And you're going to reverse the belief with the formula of claim proof benefit. So you make a claim contrary to the belief that, you know, I have something that will fix that for you. And that's going to go off their back like water off a duck, because they don't believe it. But then you attach it to the proof, which now here is an authoritative doctor bringing proof to the table. And I'll usually hit them with 2 proof points, and doctors are perfect for this. You know, like Crest, they use, you know, 4 out of 5 dentists recommend Crest. That's a proof point. So those are perfect for proof points. And then you attach it to the benefit. So it's claim, proof, benefit. 1 claim, contrary to the objection, 2 proof points. Now it's not just you saying it. Now it becomes a fact. Nobody argues a fact unless they're insane. And not to say that you're not going to come across that. So now you've reversed the belief in your favor, and then you reattach it to the benefit and 3-dimensionalize the benefit where they can hear it, see it, feel it. And then you'll knock it out of the park.
Okay.
You'll in seconds take a non-believer and turn it into a sale.
Okay. Fantastic.
Yeah, that's cool. So any questions about that? If we had more time, I would have played the whole video through, but it was all of the points were very, very similar to Richard's. So
the interesting thing was, and it was several minutes into the discussion that I realized you were talking about physical scars. I thought scars was some kind of an acronym for a program you were presenting.
No,
I don't, for whatever that's worth, it was just kind of a weird.
And I actually thought it meant like a scarring from past failure. I didn't understand immediately that it was physical scarring.
Yeah, and that's why in the intro, remember when I said you can say, hey, you know, if you're like me, you might have a scar that makes you feel uncomfortable. You know, and then that would be a great place to actually show your before picture.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have any good before pictures. You can see a hairline scar now, but you can barely see it, unfortunately.
Well, I hate to say this aloud, but there is a thing called Photoshop.
Exactly.
I'm not that good on Photoshop.
Somebody is, though.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, that's how you could bring that right into the beginning and, you know, just take all the ambiguity out of it. It's like, okay, here's what we're talking about. Wow.
Yeah.
I like that too. He's just like me. Wow. He found a solution. You know, you become a hero in the story. You know, you become the one that leads them to become a hero too, you know?
Yeah. That's that hero's journey kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and in the story, it's like you never want to be the star. You want them to be the star. You're just leading the way. It's kind of like you don't want to be Batman. You want to be Alfred.
Right.
Alfred is the one behind the scenes that's allowing Batman to be a superstar. You know, when Batman has a problem, who does he go to?
Yeah.
Alfred. You know, Alfred gives him the magic wisdom, the magic gizmos to be the superhero. He's allowing Batman to be the superhero. That's what you want to do with your customers, is be the one that is their secret serum to be the superhero.
Yeah.
And
No,
then
that's great.
that fits you perfectly, you know, with the whole story about the aerospace background and how you discovered this, how you took these technologies and blended them together and came up with, you know, with this super ultra magnificent discovery.
Fantastic. Do you you wouldn't happen to know anybody like a good compliance kind of person with respect to FDA or if would anybody here know? So I just want to make sure the FDA is not going to be looking at me and say, hey, you're making claims, or because I don't want to make medical claims. But I do want to let people know that, you know, hey, we can diminish the appearance of scars until it's gone. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know anybody on the FDA side specifically. I know more people in the finance world with compliance and legal compliance. But yeah, there are definitely, if you're in the medical arena, but I think because you're in cosmetics, you're not really claiming medical cures.
well, yeah, I just have to be careful not to cross that line.
Yeah. I don't know the answer for sure, but it seems to me that because it's more on the cosmetic side, you're not really claiming to cure something.
Yeah, I just have to.
Claims on the internet and that sort of stuff isn't that, John, more like FTC stuff? And that's the FTC Guardian arena of stuff, and
Yeah.
they're really good at that.
Yeah, but that's a completely different thing than what Ron's speaking of. He's, you know, legal compliance of medical, of what you can claim medically. FTC is about results, like if you're selling something and you're making false claims of results from, you know, that way, that's a different type of compliancy. Both can get you in trouble. So you always want to make sure that your claims are within the boundaries of the law, for sure. So I would say that would be worth looking into. And, you know, even if you have to hire somebody on a consultant basis to find that out.
Yeah, I'll do that. There are a number of companies right now that are actually interested in getting involved with us or possibly purchasing us, but I can ask them. They'll give me some compliance guys.
There's one thing I can assure you, no matter what you're doing, what you're selling, how you're selling it, you don't want to find that out the hard way.
No.
The hard way is a really hard way.
Yeah. The cease and desist. Yeah.
Yeah.
No
well,
fun.
it's worse than a cease and desist. Cease and desist is just if you cross the line typically with a competitor or something. But with compliancy like that, they come in and they close you down. They'll take you away.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah, I know Perry Belcher's experienced that from vitamins. I mean, just claims he was making on vitamins. They came in and they arrested him. They seized all his assets. I mean, it was brutal. And he was just, I think it was diet pills or something, some kind of supplements. And he was, you know, he's an outrageous marketer. He was making all kinds of crazy claims and he paid the price on it for sure.
Yeah.
That
Mike,
apple cart.
it's such a weird space because everything I can do, basically the FDA would say you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah. So definitely you want to make sure you're covered on that with whoever can cover you.
Yeah, I'll take care of it.
So,
all right. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. If anybody else has any comments, I appreciate those too. So,
yeah,
and everything you guys have said so far.
You want to put your email in the chat, Ron, for anybody like to watch the video to completion and then.
My email? Is that what you said?
Yeah. If you put your email in.
I'll do that.
Because I know, cool. You know, if anybody wants to watch the whole video and like nit it apart, I watched it this morning and it was a lot of the same stuff. It's got great stuff, but it needs to be broken into sections.
Got it.
Thank you. That would help you a lot. And it'll give you a lot of content too. Give you a lot of big ideas, a lot of ways to bring people into the fold. So great
Thank you.
stuff. Well, thank everybody. Thank you guys all for being on here and providing content for me to work with, because this, that's how you're all going to learn to is with us looking at your stuff, taking it apart, and just better, sharpen the sword. Both Ron and Richard, you guys produced a good baseline to work with there.
Very good.
Good work.
Well, I'll go clean it up and I'll send it back to you. You can
Awesome.
bleed on it again. So I appreciate it. Thank you much, sir.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I don't want to keep these calls too long and wear anybody out, but anyway, on next week, regular time. So have a great week, and thank you all for the input. Appreciate it.
Super,
Thank you,
John. Thank you
John.
so much,
Great,
John.
great call. Great work, you guys, Richard and Ron. It takes a lot of courage to have your work reviewed.
Better
So-
you do it here.
Yeah,
Better,
exactly.
better here than out in public. Yeah. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah. All right. Have a great week, you guys.
Enjoy.
Bye, John. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.